With the high gold prices, a guy really don't want to waste any more time than he has to. $5 million spent. Hi. One thing is for certain, we are not going to lay down, of course. That's a lot better than I thought we'd ever do on that pile. I think that's pretty good.
From their excavator breaking down to Tony and the crew making an insane discovery, here's what just went down in Gold Rush. In these thrilling and difficult episodes, the heroic and warrior-like qualities of Tony Beets and the Winchester crew are brought to the forefront as they tackle the challenge of recovering their most recent machinery. When their excavator stops functioning due to chain problems, the crew must strategize to overcome the situation. But how will they achieve their goal despite this setback? During his search for gold in Paradise Hill, Yukon, Tony dives headfirst into making it all work. He's seen making significant progress towards his goal of extracting 5,000 ounces of gold using sophisticated technology. However, the biggest obstacle he faces is the unpredictable weather conditions, which have the potential to disrupt his operations significantly.
So I bet you what we're going to end up doing, move everybody into the blue cut and still continue on. Like, we're not shutting down because of it. This way we can keep on going. You always in the mining business have plan B.
Despite being in the middle of September, persistent rain is adding stress to the situation by slowing down the machinery. But Tony is only 900 ounces away from achieving his goal and is all set to dig the 80 pup cut, which is a promising site with the potential to uncover a substantial quantity of gold. As the rain continues to pour, the crew must find ways to keep the machinery running efficiently. They might implement temporary weather shelters, use waterproofing techniques, or schedule maintenance during breaks in the weather. In the face of all these problems, Tony's leadership and the Winchester crew's perseverance shine through. Their journey is truly a testament to the grit and determination that is required in the gold mining industry. Now the rain is a problem for the crew because it is filling the pond with water. But Tony is excited about the potential gold in the 80 pup cut. They faced a similar difficulty 12 weeks earlier, which led to the complete suspension of their operation. At that time, the ponds were flooded, and they had to reconstruct them from scratch. Now, the same weather scenario is putting a lot of pressure on Tony's nerves. So, to tackle this challenge, he instructs Mike, one of his crew members, to take the 220 excavator to Klondike by the pump area. The goal is to fix things up and prevent the dreadful repercussions of water overflowing into the ponds. Mike's task is crucial to ensure that the ponds do not flood again, which would halt their gold mining operations. The crew must act quickly and efficiently to manage the water levels and keep their machinery running smoothly. This situation underscores the relentless nature of gold mining and the constant battle against the elements that miners face. Tony's leadership and the crew's dedication is crucial in navigating these challenges and continuing their quest for gold.
Weather is always your biggest factor. Every minute, every hour is valuable. There's nothing worse than getting flooded cuts. And of course, right now in our most crucial time really is when it decides the downpour.
The excavator 220 that Mike is operating makes its way through the sticky mud on its way to Klondike, despite all that increasingly heavy rain. He's hoping to reach Klondike as quickly as possible, but the muddy ground gradually slows down the excavator, preventing it from progressing further. Then, suddenly the excavator comes to a complete halt and starts to sink steadily. Of course, when Mike sees the excavator sinking, he appears somewhat dissatisfied. At this time, Tony arrives at the location and expresses his desire to retrieve the submerged excavator. He immediately ceases all mining activities because he cannot continue without the excavator and cannot allow his machine to remain in this state. Initially, they intended to pull the sinking excavator out of the mud with the assistance of 2 additional excavators. However, this move did not produce any results. They needed to broaden the scope of their efforts to bring the heavy equipment to a functional state. As soon as Tony comes up with a strategy to rescue the excavator, they are prepared to put it into action without delay. His quick thinking and leadership is crucial in devising a plan to retrieve the excavator and resume their mining operations. Tony orders to bring in further reinforcements. His intention is to utilize the 18-ton D6 dozer and the enormous 115-ton D11 dozer to construct a sturdy foundation for the excavator. The plan is to first remove the water from the area surrounding the submerged excavator and then, with the assistance of the D6 dozer, force coarse tailings into the hole. Lastly, the colossal D11 dozer, a monster with 850 horsepower, will pull out the excavator while it is on the sturdy reinforced ramp. Now, despite the idea appearing fantastic, it turns out to be quite challenging to implement due to the enormous amount of dirty water. Tony takes control of the D6 dozer and starts the process of removing the water from the area. As expected, it starts to demonstrate progress. Meanwhile, Mike begins to add coarse tailings to the pit, which proves to be beneficial for them. Even if the severe rain in Paradise Hill slows down the process of gold hunting, Tony remains optimistic. He believes that he will be able to harvest more gold from the 80 pup cut, as it has proven to be quite fertile in terms of producing gold. Later, as Tony and his family are seated at the dinner table, he laughs at Mike's suggestion that he should be held accountable for allowing their excavator to get submerged in the muck because he had been driving the excavator without paying attention to the direction.
We lost a couple hours by Mike having the excavator stuck because the guy doesn't listen to your directions, drives right across the settling pond. Guess what? Sings at 220.
I heard that.
It looks like he's pleased to be able to resolve the issue in a span of 2 to 3 hours. But despite Tony claiming that the success is the result of his engineering and wisdom, Mike says that it is relatively simple to retrieve the excavator. In the meantime, Mike is weighing the gold that he has acquired by pouring it into the tray. The family gather around their dinner table, where they share a light moment joking about the mishap with the excavator. As they weigh the gold Mike collected, they're pleasantly surprised to find they've acquired 500 ounces, far exceeding their initial target of 300. This windfall, totaling 4,601 ounces in all, translates to an impressive $850,000. But this is when Jason Fraser, another mining boss, arrives at Tony Beets' Hunker Cut with his Winchester crew. This marks their first time in the Yukon, nearing the end of their inaugural season there. After a demanding summer season, they're eager to return home. But to secure their freedom and pay their landlords, they need to gather 200 ounces of gold. So Tony gives his blessing to the proposal, as it would bring him a 30% profit. Currently, they've already collected 106 ounces of gold, and they've thoroughly explored the entire cut. John Van Thiel drives a truck equipped with a double-barrel wash plant that he built at home for the Winchester crew. Throughout the season, it has been performing satisfactorily, and there's hope it will continue to do so. On the other hand, Butch, transitioning from a logger to an excavator operator, has progressed from being a novice to becoming highly proficient. However, as he mentions being on the final thread of 10,000 yards, they encounter a setback. The excavator's chain breaks during its operation. He quickly heads towards Jason to deliver the news of the malfunction. Upon Jason's arrival, they inspect the situation and find that the dangling chain from the excavator is the root cause of the problem.
Holy what's going on here? Jason, you got a copy, Jason?
Yeah, I see it.
What the happened?
Chains on the ground.
The chain?
Drive chain.
Thing?
It's revealed that the chain has snapped from the master link, which is crucial for keeping the entire chain intact. Without the functioning master link, the Winchester crew's twin-barrel wash system would be rendered inoperative. In order to prevent any delays in their work, they decide they must find an additional master link for the chain. After searching through a large bag of links, they identify one that could be of help if needed. However, John directs Butch to attach the broken master link and instructs him to activate the TRL by turning the black button on the opposite side of the device to the opposite position. Subsequently, Butch asks him to release it slowly while maintaining a hold on it. Then, he advises him to adjust his hand slightly to avoid further compression. However, when he raises his hand, the chain fails to reach its wheel, prompting them to pause for a while. They attempt the procedure again, and this time they manage to make some progress. Meanwhile, Jason arrives at the scene with the master link and climbs up the ladder to address the chain issue. Finally, after 2 hours of hard work with the chain, the Winchester crew successfully resumes their mining operation. However, they are still 94 ounces short of their 200-ounce goal, and with winter looming, time is of the essence. When it comes to machinery, Jason finds it pretty funny that, like people, they don't enjoy working during the winter months. Back at Tony's residence, he sits alongside his partner, eagerly awaiting the arrival of the Winchester crew, who are finishing up the final patch. While Tony is thrilled, he's also hopeful that the crew will achieve their goals. As the Winchester crew arrives, he asks about the equipment malfunction, which caused them quite a bit of hassle.
So how did she turn out, gentlemen?
We're not sure, but she turned out.
Kind of sucks you guys' Drummond went down.
Yeah, it sucks.
All electrical, burned all the wires off.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can all still be able to get out in decent weather.
Yeah, that's the upside.
Meanwhile, Jason begins pouring gold onto the scale, and they eagerly read the results. The crew is ecstatic to discover they've obtained 101 ounces of gold, surpassing their expectations. This marks the successful conclusion of their first season in Yukon, and Tony extends heartfelt congratulations, inviting them to return. It's a happy ending for Tony and the Winchester crew, despite the challenges they faced along the way. Now, one thing is clear: the journey to find gold in the harsh Klondike wilderness is filled with drama, challenges, and successes that have made Tony Beets famous in the gold mining world. Recently, Tony had to update his water license and began searching for a suitable plant for his mining operations. He came across an inoperative kiwi wash plant and decided to give it a try, fully aware that it would require some care. However, Tony finds himself unwittingly caught up in a disaster when attention shifts to Parker Schnabel. As Parker relentlessly pursues his goals and strives to break records, Tony becomes entangled in the unfolding drama. Parker's ambitious goals unwittingly jeopardizes his wash plant, the cornerstone of his mining operation, but he remains oblivious to the danger. As a result, Tony, who is a veteran of the mining industry, finds himself manipulated as a pawn in Parker's quest for fame and wealth. His face reflects a mix of concern, realization, and surprise as conflicting goals collide, igniting a conflict that rages across the Klondike wilderness and places Tony Beets in harm's way, while Parker Schnabel pursues his aspirations. Working in this bustling mining city, Tony's team adheres to a set schedule, with each miner assigned a specific task. Yet, despite their individual roles, they collaborate seamlessly, contributing to the hive of activity that characterizes this ambitious gold mining project. Together, they make a significant impact on the project's overall success. Plans were made to transport the kiwi plant to Shane's land after negotiations with the owner, facilitated by Tony, known as the King of the Klondike. Shane appreciated the opportunity and understood the challenges of managing land holdings. Tony, with his 25-ton kiwi wash plant sitting idle and rusting away all season, orchestrated events for Dominion Creek and assembled his skilled team. Despite a minor accident during transport, they quickly assessed the damage and devised a robust plan for repairs. The King has motivated his team with his unwavering determination to extract gold from the ground. Despite a transportation accident, they collaborated to lift and relocate the kiwi plant, minimizing any potential harm. Meanwhile, Mike encountered unforeseen problems during the job that should have been straightforward and lucrative. But like we mentioned earlier, a broken chain threatened to double the time needed to complete the work. However, the crew understood that the success of the operation rested on a significant $300,000 investment, driving them to overcome the challenges. Initially expecting a smooth execution, the crew faced setbacks when a chain suddenly broke.
A chain broke, tipped off, fell off on the high side, as you can see. So go figure that one out, right?
That's unreal.
Yeah, it didn't seem to do much damage at all, really. Anyway, let's get it on his feet first.
Yep.
And then see what's bent out of shape.
Tony reacted with shock, assessing the situation to ensure minimal damage. To address the issue, Mike enlisted the help of line worker Brandon Carr to carefully right the plant. Their adept use of trucks and chains, combined with Tony's strategic guidance, facilitated a coordinated lifting operation. They understood the importance of having the right tools to tackle problems effectively. After 8 hours of overcoming obstacles, they finally reached their destination, Shane's Dominion Creek land, where the kiwi plant was positioned according to Tony's instructions. During the celebration, Tony shared the crew's ambitious season-long goal of finding 5,000 ounces of gold. Despite already producing 828 ounces from 2 significant cuts on Paradise Hill, Tony emphasized the need to process more dirt from certain areas. He urged Lisa and James to bring their vehicles to move pay dirt, emphasizing the importance of seizing every opportunity to extract gold, even if it involved calculated risks. Meanwhile, Eric E. Jolia was tasked with managing trash piles to prevent buildup, but encountered difficulties when his digger became stuck, leading to tailings stacking up. Tony entrusted Mike with finding a solution, highlighting its importance. Further complications arose when hydraulic fluid leaked from the 460, resulting in a brief shutdown. Kevin identified a broken O-ring as the cause, underscoring how even minor parts could impact the entire machine's operation. Despite setbacks and delays, Tony remained determined to achieve his goal of 5,000 ounces. Despite a week of delays and closures in the Swallow Cut due to frozen ground, he recognized the need to address challenges to ensure success. While the return may not have been as high as anticipated, he emphasized the importance of maximizing every gold investment toward reaching the ultimate goal. When faced with challenges, Tony maintained a realistic perspective, understanding that setbacks were part of the journey. He remained optimistic about identifying new opportunities, keeping the focus on the overarching goal of obtaining 5,000 ounces of gold. As he bid farewell to the team, he expressed confidence that success would eventually be realized. But a problem with the water pump caused a 2-day pause, disrupting their operations. While a new 11-ton mega pump was being assembled, Tony prepared to resume searching for rich white channel money in the 80 pup cut. But unfortunately, being in the wrong place at the wrong time hindered their progress. However, their teamwork in moving the new pump to the SLO pond showcased their skills and the importance of their specialized tools. Under Tony's guidance, Len and Mike successfully maneuvered and installed the pump, highlighting their reliance on tools for their digging work. Excitement started to build as they prepared to start the pump and resume washing, but they encountered difficulties when the engine failed to start.
I have no idea what that air will do. None. That's frustrating.
Tony attempted a short-term fix using ether, but despite their efforts, challenges persisted. The relentless pursuit of gold at Paradise Hill underscored the determination required to work in the risky gold mining industry. Frustration mounted when attempts to boost the pump's power using a pipe layer failed to yield results. Kevin then collaborated with the pipe layer, and eventually, the engine responded, signaling a smooth restart of operations. Seeing the new pump in better condition than the old one provided a sense of relief. Once the pump was operational again, Tony eagerly anticipated the resumption of mining activities. Despite the minor delay, the crew managed to stay on track through quick thinking and effective problem-solving. Reflecting on the events of the past 4 days, they looked forward to sharing their experiences. After the gold was processed, a total of 299.92 ounces, equivalent to $495,000, was revealed. This surpassed 3,000 ounces for the season, marking a significant achievement. Tony commended the team's efforts and focused on the positive outcome despite encountering challenges. With Mike's schedule keeping him occupied, Tony and his friends found themselves with more free time. They capitalized on this by leasing land to the Winchester family for the Hunker Cut to increase their income. The Winchesters faced difficulties in the Cursed Cut, a notoriously tough mining area characterized by thick black sand that hindered gold recovery from the riffles. Tony proposed a solution to enhance results by transitioning from extended metal riffles to hydraulic ones. They quickly devised a plan to help the Winchesters reach their 200-ounce season goal. The miner remained optimistic even amid setbacks, which tells you about the importance of being prepared for anything in the unpredictable gold mining business. The whole program underscored the significance of perseverance, collaboration, and innovative problem-solving in navigating the challenging Klondike goldfields. Tony shared the concept of the hydraulic riffle frame with John, who constructed it using 3/4-inch tube and steel plates. They conducted water flow tests to ensure the functionality of the components once assembled. After implementing his suggestion, they decided to test the hydraulic riffles by running 100 yards of pay dirt through their wash plant. The experiment proved successful, as the gold remained well settled at the bottom, while the rake moved smoothly. The addition of hydraulic riffles, as recommended by Tony, allowed them to extend their operation duration significantly, reducing cleanup time and enhancing gold recovery.
People that have done it for 30, 40 years give you advice. You can't say, well, I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Get hydraulic riffles in there. Try that out.
Looks like they're working.
They're working real well.
They're working real well. A nice riffle action here.
I like it.
The team expressed satisfaction with the increased potential yield and improved efficiency. When Tony inquired about the performance of the riffles, the team acknowledged his contribution and praised the longer run times facilitated by the rock truck he provided. Despite the challenges they faced, the Winchester team maintained a positive attitude, focusing on how the modifications would benefit their work. During the Winchester crew's final gold weigh-in, they brought in 120 ounces of gold, valued at $70,000. Although it was only half of their season goal of 200 ounces, they remained confident in achieving it. They continued to collaborate and support each other while working in the Klondike goldfields. Tony commended their progress and expressed his satisfaction with their efforts. As they inspected the equipment, they noticed a significant tear in the conveyor belt, approximately 15 feet long. Without a spare belt readily available, they shifted their focus to cutting and replacing the damaged section to resolve the tracking issue. Despite their efforts, the conveyor belt continued to veer off track, indicating potential roller issues. Upon further inspection, they identified problems primarily at the back of the belt, particularly with the impact bed and rollers. The impact bed, crucial for absorbing the force of rocks hitting the belt, showed signs of wear and tear beneath the hard plastic surface, raising concerns about potential belt damage. To address the issue, the team decided to replace the worn impact bed, despite the temporary shutdown it would cause. However, upon removing the old impact bed, they encountered a more severe problem. The new replacement parts were missing. This unforeseen setback motivated the team to expedite the ordering process for the necessary parts, highlighting the unpredictable nature of mining in the Klondike goldfields and the need for swift, innovative solutions to keep operations running smoothly. After installing the new impact bed and the final roller, the team prepared to restart the wash plant and resume full production. While the unplanned equipment failure presented challenges, the team worked together, guided by Tony's direct leadership, to overcome them. Feeling pressured to make up for lost time, they were eager to restart the wash plant and maximize gold production in the highly competitive Klondike gold mine. In the end, Tony, known for his careful approach, ensured that everything was in optimal condition before scaling up mining operations now that the wash plant was operational again. The team understood the financial implications of delays and remained focused on meeting their gold production targets. The show tells you a lot about the unpredictable nature of mining and the importance of adaptability and quick problem solving. But the most amazing part is that despite all the setbacks, the Beets team continues to show what it takes to make it in the challenging Klondike goldfield.